Alright guys, welcome back to another Warframe video, and this time I'm going to be covering Nidus, the Undying one, the man of the hour, the man that came out in the Glass Gambit update that dropped on the PS4 last week and also on the Xbox. This is Nidus. Now Nidus is a unique Warframe in this game. It's the only frame in this game that uses mutation stacks. You gotta use his stacks with his abilities, especially with his larva, and at the same time parasitic link. You also got his ultimate ability, which is Ravenous. Now let's go about his abilities right here. As like I said, you got Ravenous. Now once you do that, you gain some stack. The more you keep doing it, the more you get the stack going. You gotta keep doing that to get your stacks. Now as far as with the stacks, what do you do with the stacks? Now as you can see, I have 3. I could also do this. Get this out there, get them all up, and do that for more damage, which is really nice. Use the larva to pretty much bring all the enemies together. And once you do that, they're in one spot, and then you could just use Virulence. Virulence is an ability you're going to keep using more and more often, because that's how you build your stacks. Bring those guys back out. Now once you have 15 stacks, as soon as you have 15 stacks, when you go into your dying phase, you will have 5 seconds of a vulnerability. And as a bonus, you get 50% of your maximum health back. So that is really good to note. Now, his third ability, which is Parasitic Link. Once you are linked to somebody, the damage that you take goes right to that enemy that you're linked to. As you see the person right there, that's the charger taking all the damage. Once he can't take anymore, he just flat out dies. As you can see, link myself. And this is really an OP ability when you're trying to sustain yourself, stay alive. He'll take all the damage for you, which is really nice. And you could just stand here, man. As long as you link to that enemy, you could just keep taking and taking and taking. And as you see, this is a really good ability for Nidus. You could just take it off if you want to, and that person will just end up dying. Now his fourth and last ability. Let me get out those charges yet again. His fourth and final one is called Ravenous. Now what this does, it uses the stacks that you have, and once you're in its field, little maggots will go around and start seeking out enemies. And what the maggots do is that not only will they stun the enemies, but they'll also do damage to them. Now as you can see, the maggots are already going in, doing their stuff and whatnot. And when you use Ravenous again, you could explode them. You could explode them all, and you could get your stacks really, really easily this way. I've seen people, once they have 3, as you can see one maggot right there, they'll get 3, and then they'll just launch Ravenous, get them all out, make the maggots do their thing, and use Ravenous to make them all explode, taking out hordes and hordes of enemies. And you could build your stacks real easily like that. You see, you could just take it, keep going at it yet again. And here's the thing with Ravenous though, you gotta be at a certain distance, within a certain amount of meters, because if you go too far away from Ravenous, it will disappear. And since I believe I have stretch on, so it seemed like it's still over there doing its thing and whatnot. So again, I think it's coming off a stretch. You got to be within 90 meters. If you go way far, and the simulacrum is really close proximity, but if you go really far away, probably like to another area of a game mode, it will just flat out disappear. But since I'm still in close proximity, this is not even 90 meters. This is within its range, it'll still be there. And as you see, a maggot right there. So Ravenous is a really good ultimate, especially with Nidus, because not only you're getting health regen, but you also add the stack. You could stack it so easily with him. That's why I didn't mind with the nerf that they gave Nidus. People call it a nerf, but I mean, really, it went from 10 to 15. Now, I mean, come on. 15 is really nothing if you think about it. As you see, my maggots right here, some of them will go to work. As you can see, some of them already getting caught and whatnot. All I gotta do is explode them. Just go boom, just like that, and all of them just pretty much dust. And you see one right there still searching. They're already dead as is. So that's the power of Ravenous at its core. And plus, at the same time, while the maggots are doing their thing, you could just throw out the larva and it'll do its thing, capture enemies, and you can just use this on them, use virulence. So this is really, really nice. And on top of that, some people don't even know about Nidus's body, how it's changed like that. The more stacks you get, once you get to 5, his arms start to bulge, his head starts to open up a bit. Everything on Nidus tends to opens up. He gets more and more infested. And the thing about it with him is that the only time he's like in real serious trouble is at the start, because you got no stacks and whatnot to work with. So even though with the health regen, if an enemy gets a good couple hits on you, whatnot, do high damage, he'll go down. So that's like the only time that I feel where he is vulnerable. But even at the start, depending on the mission that you go to, the enemies are at low end anyway. The game will start to scale from there. So by the time the enemies get to like 30, 40, you should have a number of stacks that should keep you up. As you see right there. And the thing with virulence that I didn't really touch upon is that the more stacks you get, the stronger it gets. So you gotta be mindful of using virulence. Keep using virulence to get your stacks, but at the same time, it scales with them. So that's the beauty of using Nidus. And the last thing I didn't even get to touch upon is his Undying state. Now I want to get to 15 so I can show that off to you guys. So I'm trying to get my stacks up and whatnot. Keep using virulence. Now, as you see, I'm at 15 now. Now, I'm just going to stand here and let them kill me. I hope they could kill me. Some of them trying to get their hits and some of them are missing. So this might take a while because, again, Nidus, and at the same time, my carrier is... my carrier is healing me. Well, my Helios is, but you already know what I mean. So as you see, some of them are missing entirely, these chargers. So it's gonna take some time, but once they get me down, you should see my undying phase. As you can see right there, see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you can right, and there it is right there. Use all my 15 stacks. So now, this is where, like I said, he becomes vulnerable because now I have got no stacks. So if they get me down again, I am down. Get them up just like this. Do that to them. Do that to them. Some of them flew off right there. It doesn't matter. Do that to them. They explode. They die. So that's like the only time in this game that Nidus is in deep trouble, where he has no stacks. But once you get the stacks up, get to 15, 30, 45, you got to count them in your head. Because again, in case you go down, you got stacks to go to your Undying stage of going 5 seconds, reposition yourself, go back in, and get those stacks up. And the max amount of stacks that you could get with Nidus is 100. You can't go any higher than that. So you got to take that into consideration. 100 stacks, 15, 30, 45, 60. Keep going all the way so you could count how many times you got Undying stage before you go down. So you technically have like what, 7-8 lives with him. So that is really, really nice with Nidus. That's why I said at the time when I'll be streaming, he's impossible to go down. They have to try literally hard and throw the kitchen sink at you for him to go down. And on top of that, you may end up being lazy and whatnot. That's probably the only time when you're not paying attention that he'll just go down, because you're not being aware of your surroundings, not using your abilities. And speaking of his abilities and whatnot, I got a build for him as well. Now, here's the thing with this build. You could be so versatile with this that it's just not funny. Now, as you can see, I got rejuvenation on him, which is nice. Stack on what he has as far as with his rank bonuses. Now, as you can see, as he ranks up, he gets additional bonus, like 50% armor, plus 13 heal rate, 200% health, power max, and 15% power strength. He's the first Warframe to have an extra 15% power strength, so you gotta take advantage of that. Now, as far as with the build, like I said, this is 6 Forma, so rejuvenation, handspring is there. The reason why handspring is there is because at times I don't be using the parasync link as I should, but at times when you don't be using it, sometimes you'll get knocked down. For me, if I get knocked down, I got handspring to get myself back up real quick. So that's why that's there. I got vitality on, steel fiber to boost up that armor even more. Armored agility, more armor, plus additional sprint speed for him, which is really nice. Also, I got prime flow, which is there. Prime continuity, that's only there for larva, parasitic link, and Ravenous. You want to have duration on those abilities so that it could stay there, do its thing, and whatnot. Rage is there, self-explanatory. He has no shield, so again, have that rage there so you can keep getting back energy. Intensify and blind rage to have that power strength at 244. Now you must be like, Okachi, what happened to that efficiency? Efficiency is not an issue with Nidus because you're going to be using virulence most of the time anyway, and the more enemies you hit, the more energy you get. So when you hit 4 or 5 enemies, you get a good chunk of energy from them, so which is really nice. You don't have to worry about efficiency. Prime flow is there so I can have more of a bigger energy pool so I could keep using my abilities. And it's pretty much self-explanatory right there as far as with his build. This build is really efficient. I went 3-4 hours with this guy, and they could have killed me early, but that's the only vulnerable point. But once he has stacks and his body starts to bulge, he gets stronger, his abilities get stronger. Use Ravenous, parasitic link, use the larva. All of his abilities coexist with each other. They're intertwined. There's a chemistry with his abilities that is just flat out crazy. And doing survival with him, even if it's survival or defense, he shines the brightest the longer the game goes. You can still use him for exterminates or whatnot, but the thing is, when you do exterminates with Nidus, you don't get the full gist of his abilities. You gotta go further with him to see his abilities shine the brightest. So ever since he came out, people be doing survivals. You see like a team of Niduses, so they already know what's up. So as far as with Nidus, he's one hell of a frame. Is he worth getting? Absolutely. I already know the quest is a pain in the ass. You gotta do, what is it, the infested salvage, all that stuff. But most of the people, they just bought them because they don't want to bother with the whole salvage thing, trying to get one piece, but it's not guaranteed. So it's like, screw it, I'm gonna buy it. The quest, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. You gotta keep doing the index over and over again, but people just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy him. But in the end, he's hella worth to get, because when you do survival and you're with a team or with your friends, or you go for long durations, you can have a team of Niduses, have 2 Niduses, a Chroma in there, Trinity, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a pair of Niduses in there, and they know what they're doing, this beast ain't going down. Not going down by a mile, by an inch. He just not going down, period. Alright, so that's Nidus in a nutshell right there. And that's practically me just covering this beast of a frame, because he's well deserved to be in this game. But at the same time, I question it because he's too damn strong. So that's the end of it right there, man. This is Kachi. I'm gonna catch you later, man. Peace.